Black Americans have higher levels of confidence and lower levels of self-esteem. Because if slavery lasted here longer, it was turned into a business, and it was an intentional desire to destroy your spirit, because if they had this black man here, coming here with all that build and all that brawn from, by the way, they say they went to Africa, oh, we're dumb, we're stupid. Knock that off.
There's a question quietly circulating in comment sections, barbershops, churches, WhatsApp groups, and community meetings. It sounds simple. What did the Caribbean build in the United States? On the surface, it feels like a history question, but underneath, it's something deeper. It's about ownership, it's about legacy, it's about influence, and it's about whether Black America is aligned or operating as divided power. Because when the question is asked, it's rarely neutral. Sometimes it's frustration, sometimes it's pride, sometimes it's resentment, and sometimes it's about insecurity. Insecurity that one group may be advancing faster, insecurity that immigration shifts political weight, insecurity that credit is unevenly distributed, and moments of insecurity require clarity, not escalation. So let's ground this properly.
When Black people get power, what do we do with it?
Share.
We make this country better. We pass civil rights laws. We improve the conditions not only of our community, but of all communities.
African Americans built the foundational civil rights infrastructure of modern America, from Reconstruction organizing to anti-lynching campaigns, from the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People's legal strategy to the Montgomery bus boycott, from student sit-ins to federal legislation, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, desegregation rulings. These were not symbolic victories. They were structural transformations paid for with jail time, economic retaliation, surveillance, and generational trauma. That foundation is not up for debate, but here is where the conversation often becomes incomplete. Caribbean migration to the United States accelerated in the early 20th century, and again after the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act. Many arrived in cities already shaped by African American struggle: Harlem, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston. They did not arrive in neutral space. They arrived in contested space, and some of them shaped that space in powerful ways.
Over 100 years ago, the Black nationalist movement in America reached an unprecedented level of popularity because of the efforts of the charismatic leader of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey built the Universal Negro Improvement Association in Harlem, one of the largest mass movements of Black people in global history. Shirley Chisholm, daughter of Barbadian and Guyanese parents, became the first Black woman elected to Congress and the first Black woman to seek a major party's presidential nomination. Stokely Carmichael, born in Trinidad, helped redefine political language with the phrase Black Power. These were not minor figures. They were movement architects. But the story doesn't end there. Caribbean immigrants helped build churches that became political hubs. They created credit unions and mutual aid societies. They established small business corridors in Flatbush, Crown Heights, and Miami's Little Haiti. They joined labor unions. They entered public service, like Jamaica's Una Clark, a former New York council member, and her daughter Yvette Clark, the U.S. representative for New York's 9th Congressional District. They built quiet institutions, schools, nonprofits, and civic organizations that rarely carry an ethnic label. Many of those institutions appear simply as Black American, and that is where perception gets complicated. Because when someone asks, "What did the Caribbean build?" they may be expecting a separate column, but history rarely builds in columns. African Americans built the legal door. Caribbean immigrants often walked through that door and then helped expand the interior. That does not diminish the original struggle. It shows how layered it is. Now here's where we must go deeper. Data sometimes show that Black immigrants, on average, may arrive with different educational backgrounds or professional pipelines compared to African Americans, whose families were historically locked out of capital and opportunity through slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, and discriminatory lending. Those differences can create visible income gaps within the broader Black population, and perception fills the rest. If one group appears to be advancing faster in certain sectors, medicine, academia, entrepreneurship, it can generate comparison. Comparison can generate resentment. Resentment can generate a narrative. But here's what gets lost. The United States political system does not pass those distinctions when policy lands. Housing discrimination affects both. School inequities affect both. Policing disparities affect both. Wealth gaps affect both. The racial wealth gap between black households and white households remains massive, regardless of origin. So the larger risk is not about the difference. The larger risk is fragmentation. History shows that black political power in America has never depended on uniform identity. It depended on alignment. Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington disagreed deeply. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X disagreed publicly. W.E.B. Du Bois and Garvey clashed ideologically, but they operated within a shared gravity, the advancement of black people in America and beyond. Today, disagreement often turns into disengagement. Instead of asking, how do we coordinate leverage, we sometimes ask, who deserves credit? That shift weakens pressure, and pressure is what moves systems. Systems do not respond to internal scorekeeping, they respond to organized blocks. This is where the conversation becomes urgent.
Black Africans and Black Caribbeans and Black Americans are different. Black Africans and Black Caribbeans are closer, almost identical. They have high, and I'm generalizing now, but generalization is pretty accurate. They have high self-esteem and lower levels of confidence.
The black population in the United States is now one of the most globally connected communities in the country. African Americans, Caribbean Americans, African immigrants, Afro-Latinos, transnational networks, remittance flows, cultural exports, voting power concentrated in key states. This diversity could be a division, or it could be strategic leverage, but leverage requires trust, and trust requires historical honesty. African Americans built the legal architecture that allowed many immigrants, Caribbean included, to access opportunities previously denied. Caribbean immigrants contributed global consciousness, business networks, and institutional energy, strengthening local ecosystems. Both are true. The danger emerges when either truth is weaponized. If African American history is minimized, resentment grows. If the Caribbean contribution is dismissed, alienation grows. Both outcomes shrink influence. And influence, once fragmented, is difficult to rebuild. Fragmentation benefits those who prefer slow change. When communities argue internally, external systems feel less pressure to respond. When votes scatter, policy momentum weakens. When narratives divide, bargaining power declines. But when voices align, even imperfectly, leverage increases. The future will not be shaped by those who built what alone. It will be shaped by who builds next, together. Because the wealth gap has not disappeared, health disparities persist, educational inequities remain. Political gains face structural resistance. These realities do not differentiate between accents or ancestry. They respond to numbers, coordination, and sustained strategy. So perhaps the better question is not, what did the Caribbean build, but what can Black America build now across origins? Because when alignment sharpens, nations move. When alignment fractures, progress leaks quietly. And history has already shown which direction produces results. If this conversation matters to you, subscribe to this channel, Impacting Jamaica, because awareness is the beginning, but alignment is where power lives.